You are now tuned in to your number one radio station.
87.9.
The truth is out there. Follow us.
We interrupt this program for a special report by WKMU.
Staten Island, New York.
In the beginning, there was darkness, until we started seeking the light. And for as long as humans have existed, we have been driven to uncover the secrets of our existence. Hey everybody, welcome to our podcast, where we'll be embarking on what I find fascinating journey to explore the mysteries of the universe and our place within it. I'm your host, Luke Abrams, and I'm excited to share this journey with you. We'll be covering a vast range of topics, from the multiverse to the Garden of Eden, and then everything in between. In our first episode, we dove headfirst into the intriguing topic of the Garden of Eden, where we explored ancient texts for clues about its possible location. If you want to know where I think the garden is, check out the first episode, link in the description. But today, it's our second episode, and we're taking a step back kind of to explore the broader scope of what our podcast will be, and what we will be seeing over the next coming episodes, where we dive into the nature of reality, secrets hidden within ancient texts, the mysteries of the human experience. We'll also venture into the unknown, challenging our assumptions, and explore the connections between different philosophies, religions, and cultures. So settle in, keep an open mind, and join me on this adventure as we seek to uncover the truth and understand the enigma of our existence. From the cosmic to the spiritual, we'll explore it all. Eventually, we'll get to the big picture, the multiverse and everything in it, and what it means for our understanding of reality and our existence. So, my research into humanity's past has taken me on a wild, metaphorical journey across the globe. And I wasn't really searching for God, but what I was searching for was the truth. And anyone who's into religion knows the truth is often considered divine. And I believe the secrets of our past are hidden in a global puzzle, just waiting for us to uncover the answers. But here's the thing. I think each group of people have a piece of the puzzle, but thanks to a language barrier that seems to be put in place by God, it's like we're all working on a giant jigsaw puzzle, with each culture having a few pieces that fit together in a unique way. So, what are some of the questions that need answers? Well, I'm glad I asked. Let's dive in and explore some of the mysteries that have been bugging me, and hopefully you can get an idea of what some of the future shows will be about. Now, I'm not going to necessarily answer all these questions. I will just put questions forward to let you know what our future will be holding. Let's first explore some fascinating questions. Why does a satellite photo of Africa, specifically the Sahara, show what looks like the aftermath of a giant tsunami? And it's funny because the signs all point towards the Atlantic Ocean, going through a country that's called Mauritania. In fact, the coast of Mauritania actually resembles a spout pouring into the ocean. And if you look at satellite photos of the Sahara, you'll notice a striking feature that resembles a massive floodplain. It's as if like someone took a huge bucket of water and poured it across the top of Africa. And this phenomenon has sparked intense curiosity and debate among researchers and scientists. But that's not all. Off the coast of Mauritania, there's a sediment mound that's up to 93 miles long, 45 miles wide. That's like 500 feet high of sediment. And to really put that in perspective, that's roughly 33 billion tons of debris. That's twice the much of weight of the Great Wall of China and 6 times as heavy as the Pyramid of Giza. What's more intriguing to me is that the sediment mound is, if you follow it backwards, seemed to start where the biblical flood happened by the Mediterranean, Turkey, and for those that watched the first episode know what I mean by Turkey. So if you haven't checked it out, go ahead back to episode 1. But could there be a connection between the two? Like, was there this massive sediment deposit a result of the flood? Or was it a natural event that occurred around the same time or over time since then? It just feels like that long sand dripping into the ocean would be higher. This seems like it was thrown out into the ocean. And the implications are really mind-boggling, because if this sediment mound is indeed linked to the biblical flood, it would be a groundbreaking discovery that could rewrite history. And if it's a natural event, what could have caused such a massive displacement of earth and sand? Now, this will be, I think, a future episode where I talk about the flood and what I think happened at the time. But it is pretty crazy that there is a mountain that big just sitting there. That it comes off the coast of Africa. It's really interesting. You should check it out. This next question is super intriguing to me because it came to me recently, but it kind of went along with what I was noticing in these ancient texts. And I'm not just talking religious texts, and I'm not even just talking the Bible. I know I say the Garden of Eden in the title of the podcast, but it's all because it's a mix of things like science, history, religious texts, and ancient texts. And so I don't want anyone to think that I'll be putting one religion atop of another. I'm just going in for evidence and see what kind of proof we can find to these stories. And I want to know, who is Nana? Or Nana? Yes, Nana. It's really weird because I couldn't find a culture, or I couldn't really find a culture that didn't have some mention of a Nana. Now, Nana is always depicted as an aquatic entity who seems to help humans all around the world. Like if you start with the ancient cuneiform texts, there is a Nana mentioned as a powerful being who was banished to another world. Then in the Amazon region, there's an entity called Nana who emerged from the shores and journeyed through the trees to assist the indigenous people of South America. But that's not all. Nana appears in various forms across cultures. Like I said, in cuneiforms, it's a powerful being banished. Amazon cultures, it's a benevolent entity who emerges from the shores. But in Roman mythology, Nana is actually worshipped as a water goddess associated with fertility and protection. In African cultures, Nana is revered as a powerful ancestor spirit, often depicted as a wise and nurturing figure. In Greek mythology, Nana is linked to the goddess Gaia, embodying the earth's fertility and power. And for you that have heard the name Gaia before, maybe you know where it comes from or you haven't. There's a couple Gaias. There's actually a channel that talks about Gaia. Well, not talk about Gaia. The channel's called Gaia, and it talks about alien stuff, world history, anything that they can really look into that's what we consider paranormal. But paranormal just means that we're not yet used to it. Cars at one time was paranormal. Phones were paranormal. TVs, all these things are paranormal because at one time they weren't natural to us. Gaia is also the name of the being that, I don't know if anyone remembers, back in the day, Captain Planet. Gaia was actually the Earth spirit who gives the rings out to the teenagers to call forth Captain Planet. Gaia seems to be the Earth, and it's interesting because the Earth does seem to act like it's alive. Some say that oil is being replenished in wells that, we basically dried out or were drying out, and they just started replenishing. Meaning, it could be like the blood source of the world. And then over in Chinese mythology, Nana is associated with the dragon goddess Long Wang, who controls the oceans and brings prosperity. It just seems way too coincidental to be a mistake or even like a random event. So it's really confusing. Who is Nana? And why does she appear in so many cultures? Is she a universal symbol of the feminine power? A representation of light-giving force of water or something more? Now, it does seem that this Nana I mean, if we're going to be really open-minded and look at the evidence as it is, Nana seems to be an entity all across the world. Now, some could liken this to the wandering Jew, the immortal from the Bible. Mesopotamia also had someone who also survived the flood and became immortal. So is this entity, or is this an entity of Earth? Because let's be honest, a lot of these ancient texts talk about sky people, star people, people from the sky, people from the water, mixing people from another dimension, i.e. some people see this as aliens. I'm not really sure what to think of it, but it would make sense that a lot of these combine the sky gods and water gods. So you could kind of think of it like another dimensional being mixing with the earth to create us. And I would really like to know who this person is. And if you have your own culture's version of this, let us know on Twitter. You can find us at Luke of the Universe. I'm sorry, it's Luke of the Multiverse on Twitter. And just leave a comment or leave a comment in the messages of the show. Would really appreciate it. This will be the last question that intrigues me into making this podcast. So hopefully this is the last chance for me to reach you guys and let you know what kind of journey we're in for with our new podcast. What really intrigues me is one of the reasons why I started leaning towards a God and a creator. And I will admit that there are science reasons why I believe in God. My brother actually has a 87.9 WKMU radio podcast, and he does an episode on quantum mechanics. And listening to that and really listening and applying to what I know about ancient civilizations, which has been one of my passions. You come to realize there are common motifs across various cultures around the world. It really is like if there's like a collective experience that transcends time and geography. First, let's take creation myths, for example. Now, from the biblical account of Genesis to the ancient Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, creation stories share striking similarities. I will go more into them on episodes. This is, again, just a way for me to kind of go through the questions that led me to my awakening. And quantum mechanics has a lot to do with that. And so does this. Because many cultures believe in a primordial chaos, a creator deity, and the emergence of humans. This is not limited to religious texts either. Even ancient Greek mythology, indigenous Australian stories feature similar themes. So does Mesoamerica, which is like South America. You can go to any small tribe cultures across the world, and most of them will have some kind of creation myth that started with us humans being created here. Even though, let's be honest, evidence shows that humans have been here way longer. But I'm finding a lot of truth in these texts. So maybe they're a little bit more realistic than we give it credit for. Another one that pops up all the time is my least favorite, end of time prophecies. The Mayan calendar, the Book of Revelation, even like Norse mythology, all predict a catastrophic end to the world. Now, while the details quite often differ, the underlying theme of transformation and renewal is constant. And thankfully, in the Bible, God said he's not going to drown us anymore in the flood. But that doesn't mean we can't get hit with a sunspot or asteroid, I guess, either. So, let's hope for the best. Another common motif you'll see in a lot of ancient texts and religions is the serpent and dragon symbolism. They appear across many cultures, and they often represent rebirth, transformation, or even a spiritual growth. And this comes from like the Egyptian Wajet to the Chinese Longwang. Sorry. I'm trying to keep this PG-13. These creatures embody the power of change. Some of the biblical references, they're also two-faced tricksters, which is another common motif, believe it or not. There's a lot of tricksters that show up in these stories. Believe it or not, the tree is actually revered in many cultures as a symbol of life, wisdom, and connection to the divine. In Norse mythology alone, you have something called, and I'm going to mess up the pronunciation, Yggdrasil, which is Yggdrasil, Yggdrasil. There's also the Bodhi tree of Buddhism, and even, as we know, the biblical tree of knowledge, that they all kind of represent this axis mundi, which is a connection between heaven and earth. So if I was going to assume with my last episode talking about the Garden of Eden, this might be a multi-dimensional area. Well, you know, a lot of these religions talk about ladders and different planes and different heavens, which I think are all just fancy religious words for what we know in science as dimensions. So it's interesting that the tree seems to come up a lot as an interdimensional portal, so to speak. Another one that's really fun for me is because it's the eternal life. It's reincarnation, eternal life, life after death, higher dimensions. They're all common themes also, from ancient Egypt's Book of the Dead to even modern day near-death experiences. Humans have long sought to understand what lies beneath or beyond our mortal coil. And these common motifs could be attributed to like shared human experiences, culture exchange, independent development, or even collective unconsciousness. Like, I don't know if you heard about my brother. I think my brother did one where he talked about these mice or rats that were trained in London, but the mice and rats in New York City start to act like the rats in London. A lot of these motifs also mention we are God, we're made from God, we're connected to God. If we're all God, maybe God is an entity, a single entity that controls the universe, and we're descendants of him to live, to experience life, because on the 3D or wherever plane we're on, this dimension, this is how we can exist. This is how we can interfere with life. So that's what we became, something just to enjoy this land. Which is why I think we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, because we didn't appreciate it. We took advantage. And now we kind of have to show that we're willing and deserving of this experience. It's just fascinating that this journey through the depths of human culture and consciousness is crazy. It's real to me. And if you're listening to this, it's probably real to you too. And so, we return to the light. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery as we explore questions that matter the most to us. Things like, why are we here? Do we have a purpose? Will we reunite with loved ones once again? For me, and maybe perhaps as you as well, our purpose, what I think our purpose is very simple. It's to exist and find happiness. But the journey to get there can be complex. It really is as if we're meant to uncover our own path, to figure out the secrets of the universe, and discover our own truth. But here's the thing. We don't have to do it alone. And together we can explore, question, and seek answers. We can support each other on this journey of self-discovery and growth. So thank you for being part of this journey with me. I'm Luke, and I've been honored to have shared this time with you. Until next time, may we continue to seek the light and find our own way together. Hopefully you will find your own truth, and your truth will set you free.
This concludes our broadcast day. Good night, and God bless America.